Hey guys, Stitching May here to do my weekly update video. It is technically 11:45, so it is technically still Thursday. So I'm here with my Thursday update. You guys probably won't see this until the wee hours of Friday morning. So when you guys wake up, it'll probably look like a Friday upload, but it's technically a Thursday, so I'm going to count it as a Thursday. I realized in my last video that I felt like I was kind of rushing things. Granted, I did have my brother waiting on me to go somewhere. We went to Chuck E. Cheese. And, so I can say it now because he knows where we went. And, excuse me. So I was kind of rushing because there was somebody in the house while I was recording. It felt kind of weird. But I'm going to try to kind of slow things down a little more and not seem so rushed. I think sometimes I feel like I rush through the video because I don't want to bore you guys. And then I end up just rushing through the video. Anyway, you can always put me on fast forward if I'm going too slow. So, like I said, last week we went to Chuck E. Cheese on Friday. We had a blast. The one we went to does hourly tokens. You get a little card and you can play for an hour. It was amazing. We had a blast. Told the kids that we were going to my cross stitch store. My son was like, why's Uncle Craig? It's like, it just is. Confused the cashier completely when she rang us up because we were discussing what we were going to eat. And I said I was going to get salad, et cetera, et cetera. And she went to ring us up all together. And I said, no, we're separate. And then she looked at me and I had my wedding ring on and my brother did not. And it was, we confused that poor, she was trying to figure out our dynamics. It was none of her business. Anyway, I put on earrings for you guys. I got dangles on. My hair's up in a bun. We've had a lazy day at home. Not a bun, a clip. I don't ever get to wear dangle earrings to work because they can be used as weapons. So, I thought, hey, I'm going to put on my earrings since my hair's up. Anyway, so stitching. That's what you're here for. This week was like the first of the week I was flying through stitching to stay up with semi-sane stitching group. With the haunted Halloween murder mystery. And then I got killed. Let's see here. I was off Saturday night because we had my son's performance, which was amazing. I'll see if I can insert a small clip here, if I can. If not, just ignore this awkward pause. And then we came home and we stitched. I'm trying to think, do we watch the game? Yeah, we watched the Georgia game. We barely won. Kentucky almost got us. And then I stitched and stitched. And then Sunday, Lucy threw down the gauntlet and we needed to do 600 stitches in 24 hours and I had to work Sunday night. Oh my gosh, Sunday night was a horrible night at work. So I got no stitching, no lunch, not even a lunch. So no stitching. So Monday when I got home, it was still going, but there was no way I could get 600 stitches in. And then I realized about Monday evening that she had gone over. And I was like, oh, let me try. I threw in some stitches. Tuesday morning, it was still going. I literally missed the deadline, the cutoff point, by like 45 minutes. I finished my 350 stitches, went to post my 450 stitches, went to post the 600 stitches, and she had cut it off. I was like, oh, I missed it for like 45 minutes. And then my bug completely died. Like, I did not stitch any Wednesday or any more Tuesday or any Wednesday at all Wednesday. I picked up some stitching today and we'll get into that in a minute. Sorry. So let's jump into the actual stitching instead of just the talking about stitching. So that's all. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not what you think it is. I don't know what, oh, so in the last video I showed you that I was working on my Abby Lane Designs New Beginnings. This is what it looks like when it's finished. I went back to my old line instead of my really bright line. I'm hoping this one's better. The other one kind of washed everything out. And I realized that when I was in virtual stitches the other day with this light that you could see me better. I didn't have a halo around me. But I was having to stitch 200 stitches in purple for magical stitches. And then I ended up using this for a total of 400 in the semi-seine. I don't remember if I used this again for magical stitches. I'm sure I did. Guys, all my events are running together. This is where I was before. In the last video, if I took a picture, here's where I am now. So I finished up this light purple motif. This is a no-name Silks for You. It was in a kind of an oops pack. I don't think they call them oops packs, but it's the same thing. It's like the Dinky Dyes oops packs. It's where they don't have enough to make a full hank or a full skein. But this is just a random light purple. It's still trying to focus on me instead of the cross stitch. There we go. And then I'll work some more on this turquoise one down here. My son has already declared that the C that is somewhere in here is going to be in red. Because that's his favorite color right now, and he wants it to be in red. And so far, this is the red that he's picked out. Which I think is a stark contrast, which is fitting. I'm letting him pick, except for that light purple. I picked that one because he was in bed, and I wasn't about to wake him up to ask him to pick a color. That's just rude. And then I also worked on something with the door for semi-seine. So I worked on my Christmas Eve by the Prairie Schooler. I used this for magical stitches as well for a project that is cursed. I said because 3 friends were stitching this together. I don't see one of those friends very often anymore. And they both finished it, and I'm the only one working on it, so it's cursed. It was a very, very, very broad interpretation of cursed. This is stitched on a fabric, Spat LJ fabric. He is no longer in business. I don't remember the color of it, the name. And now I'm so disappointed because I stitched in the middle instead of saving the fabric. And now I can't get any more of this fabric. I think I have another piece of this color though. And I keep picking it up to stitch on other things, stitch other projects, and I don't want to stitch on them because I don't want to lose them. I don't want to use all of his fabric. Let me put this back where it goes. If I don't put it back where it goes, it'll all be discombobulated. So this is where I was before. Sorry guys, ragweed season. I'm not sick, it's just a constant itch. This is where I am now. I'm so close to a finish. I stitched on the reindeer butt. Guess what? Reindeer butt. It's not as good as chicken butt, is it? And then I went back and stitched on this house some and these trees some. And I had to customize these trees because they're kind of messed up. But that's where I am on this one. And this is one of my lovely Dyna bags. This one was a gift at the Austin, the original flosstube retreat in Austin. And then I worked on my Tiny Modernist, Hugs Not Drugs. I used this because I could stitch on anything I wanted for 400 stitches. And then I also used this for the, I used this because it was a big block of color. And then also I used this for the T and boat for magical stitches. We're working on the Horcruxes. Could never said that correctly. And there were 6 topics we could stitch on. We only had to use 3. So I did this one for T because one of them could be boat, Tiny Modernist. I also used this one for the light colors as well. So I did 200 stitches for the light colors and 200 stitches for the T and boat. And I got about 408 stitches done total. This is where I was before. Guys, we're so close to being finished. And this is where I am now. Make sure you can't see through it. Still love stitching him. He's a lot of fun to stitch because he's just big blocks of colors. I've got my floss in this little bag. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but my coworker had seen some of my project bags. He was like, I think I can make those. And then he went home that week and whipped up this little small version. He's making it for stethoscope bags. But he chose this fabric for me and made me a small little bag, which is perfect for a small project or the floss for a larger project. So, and that's when I started working on this for him. And then my bug died. Like, completely died. Like, even looking on Stash Unload at patterns and haul, I was like, meh, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm not stitching. I don't want it. And like, it was a worrisome bug die. Like, normally it dies and I still, like, I had no desire to stitch for 2 days. And so then I finally was like, you know what? I'm just going to stitch. So earlier this morning, my son was home, still having some stomach issues. He had an underlying stomach issue many years ago. Almost made a really big loud noise. Many years ago when he was first born. Sometimes we have some underlying issues that happen because of that. Nothing major, just stuff we have to keep up with. Not going to go into detail because not a pleasant side effect anyway. So he was home today to where we could take care of all that. And this morning we got up and I was like, okay, I'm going to stitch. I'm going to make myself stitch. So I sat down and the only thing that called to me was this. I don't have the color design. It's Nordic. That's the pattern. Nordic needle is a small ornament out of the Just Cross Stitch August 2014. Not the actual Christmas, but it's just these little Quaker flowers, I call them. I think it's supposed to be a poinsettia. You stitch 2 sides and then you sew it together and you put beads on the edge. So I'm stitching it in this lovely Etoile floss. Can't say it. With the sparklies. I was originally going to stitch this in beads, and my beads weren't name brand. Don't you love my organization? All of you OCD flossers out there are like cringing right now. Cringe way. Because that's how it stays in this project, and I'm normally very organized. Speaking of organization, Wednesday night when I didn't stitch at all, I sat and I'll show you, it's right here. This entire box was full of loose DMC that I had gotten randomly picked up here, picked up there at estate sales, been handed me down. It was just a big thunk of flosses in no particular order. And I need to eventually put them in my floss away drawers that I have. But I was so daunting. So when I couldn't stitch, I sat and I wrote each. So my drawer numbers are numbered. The first one's like B5200 through 350. And then the next one just happens to be, because this is how it worked out for me, 321 through 598. So what I did is I sat down with my empty project bags and sorted each one out to which drawer it would go into. And then once I had it, I put it in these baggies in order. That way, when I need a color, I'll come to these first, see if it's in there. Or if I notice I'm out of one, I'll come to this first and see if it's in here. Or eventually, I'll pick up one bag, put these in the drawers, keep any that are too many to go in the drawer in the bag, and I've got it organized. Plus, that way, with these numbers on these bags, like if DMC's having a big sale, I can go buy random skeins, throw them in, and, you know, keep my stash that way. So I do keep my stuff organized, and that's what I did when I couldn't stitch or wasn't stitching. I could get it out without making a mess. If I try to put it back, I'll knock everything over. So anyway, I know you're cringing about my keep. I'm not going to show you a before picture of this, because as I was stitching this, I was like, oh crap, I didn't take a before picture of this, because it's not for an event, it's just a stitch, and I forgot to take a picture. And then I started looking. And I did something that I've never in my now 10 years of stitching, because I started in 2009, done before. And my project was on the hoop this way. I picked it up this way and started stitching, which is a 45-degree turn. Which means all of my stitches were not the right way. The top cross wasn't the way that I stitch. So, I had to rip it all out. And then the bug that was barely there was really gone. I ripped it out because if I hadn't ripped it out, I might not have ripped it out. Tossed it ever so lovingly into the floor and left it. And then a few minutes later, or a couple hours later, I came back and tried to stitch. This again is in another Diana bag. When I came back, I decided that I was going to work on some homework for Magical Stitches. And I chose to work on my Country Cottage Needleworks designs. This is Silent Night. It's a Christmas sampler. I say sampler very lightly. However, today I have been watching flosstube, guys. I was so far behind on flosstube. And I think flosstube helped me get my bug back, because now I'm wanting to start everything, because Sarah from Our Stitchy Kingdom showed Cinnamon Stars, and I have like half the floss for it, but I have plenty of color and cotton that I want to grab and maybe get that. Like, I want to start everything now. So this is where I was before on this project, and I have to stitch on an entryway, which for me is a door or a window. I guess you can go in a window, I said. You know, that's not the polite way to come in, but you know, it's kind of a sneaky way in. Never snuck in any windows or out of any windows. It's a good kid. But there is where I am now. And again, there's my extra floss. I'm working on this one though. This one is in separate bags like it's supposed to be. I don't have the bag with me. It's organized. And guys, that is it for my stitching. One thing that I do need to mention. Last week in my haul portion, I forgot to mention that I was also gifted a Heaven and Earth from Jen. She is a longtime flosstube watcher. She is with us in Virtual Stitcher. She's actually one of our chat. So we have Sammy and our admin. Lisa is a moderator, and then we have one person who's going to be like a kind of a chat moderator or host, and that's Jen. We're going to add some more later because we're realizing that we need some all the time. And anyway, she gifted me this Heaven and Earth that I'll insert a picture right here. And guys, last night when my stitchy bug was going crazy, in the middle of like a 4 a.m. not sleep, mom sleep. You know, that sleep that you do whenever you're taking care of somebody and you're not 100% asleep, but you're trying to doze. I was like, I'm going to start a Heaven and Earth. That's what I need to do. That'll get my stitchy bug back. Guys, I don't dislike full coverage, but you know Starry Night. It's been going on for 8 years. It's not like I'm going to finish it the next year. God, that would be amazing if I could. But anyway, I was like, I'm going to start on Heaven and Earth. That's it. That's what I need to get my stitchy bug back. And I woke up with a little clarity this morning, and I haven't started one yet. Like, I'm telling you, I'm wanting to start all the things, and I don't need to start anything because I've got like 30 projects on the go. I need to get some finishing. So anyway, I failed to mention that in the last video. It wasn't for a lack of whatever. It was just me rushing through the video. And the only thing that I have of haul, guys, is so uneventful that it's not even counted at haul. But I was going to show it to you just in case you wanted to look and see if your Target had one. Or had these. This was in the dollar spot for fall decorations. See, it was $1. $1. And it is a foam block. I think it is for floral. That was easy for me to say. Floral arrangements. However, it's not the normal, like, the ones at my Dollar Tree are that weird, like, itchy foam that I can't touch because it itches me. It reminds me of, like, home insulation. And just touching it kind of gives me the hibby-jibbies. Thinking about it apparently makes me shudder. But, this one appears, I wish I could get it open. Hey, I'm getting it open. Sorry for the crinkle crinkle. It is. This one has almost a wax coating, rubbery wax coating to it. And I thought this would be really good for like a box that, you know, when you put the ornament and you do the, what are they called? The standalone ornaments. Where you wrap the cube. That makes sense. Lord, words fail me. But it's rubberized on it instead of that weird itchy foam. And I even thought that the hot glue, because you know that's the right way to glue, would stick to this better than to that foam, and it may not feel as, I haven't done the cube finish yet because of the creepy foam that you have to use. But check out your Target and see if they have these, because I mean this feels so much better made than those that are at the Dollar Tree, and they're still only $1. That one's got a little spot on it. That's it for haul. I thought my coloring cotton would be coming today, but it didn't. I checked the mail before I did the video, or earlier today, not at 11:30 at night, but you know. So that's really everything, guys. As always, you know, we are on virtual stitchers pretty much. There is usually, so there's a daytime group and a nighttime group. I kind of sometimes try to get on the daytime group whenever my son's at school. I don't always make it because my third shift roots kick in and I'm usually napping. Because it's hard for me to flip-flop. But there's like a daytime group, and then there's a nighttime group, and then there's the in-betweens. There's usually always somebody on to chat. So if you're looking for a way to have like a virtual stitchy day, or somebody, you know, a sit and stitch, please come join us at Virtual Stitches. A lot of fun. That's one part of the reason that I'm not caught up in my flosstube, because I used to watch flosstube and stitch. Now I sit and chat and stitch. Guys, I can't say enough. Thank you always for coming back and watching me and listening to me ramble when I rush, when I talk too slow, when I talk about boring things. I just really appreciate that more than you know. Thank you for all your comments and your kind words. And always, take care and happy stitching.